first launch the Snap software. Now see, the last day we have processed the RadarSat-2 image for visual image interpretation. Okay. So wherever we have left in the last day, today we shall start from that point. So if you have saved the session, then the session can be opened directly from here, like this by using this open button, or go to file and session, then open session. Okay. So this was the session that I have saved in the last day. But if you have not saved it, I mean, if you have not saved the last session, in that case, you can do one thing. You can open all these files one by one. Okay. Although all these files are no more required today, but only the terrain corrected image is required. Anyway, I'm demonstrating how to open these files one by one. Go to, I'm going to file, then close all products. Now see, first we have to open the original image. So the original image was opened from this file, then import, then SAR sensors, then RadarSat-2. However, it can also be directly opened by using this open button. Okay, open product button. Anyway, let us follow the yesterday's or the last day's system. SAR sensors, RadarSat-2, and go to the original file, and then product.xml, and click on import product. So the original product will be opened. Now, other files that we have saved, was saved in the output folder, RS2. Now see, these are the products that was generated in the last class, and these products are in Snap DIMAP file format, and the file extension is DIM. Okay. This is the default file format. Now, see, these are the complex products. I mean, this is the file name, but some accompanying files are there in the folders. So let us try to open them. Now, while opening these DIM files, then importing is not required. You can directly open the DIM files because they are kept in a complex structure, so they can be opened directly. So click on this open button and go to the folder where you have kept the output images, and you may open them one by one. For example, this is the multi-loop processing 2 that was done in the last day, and then the calibrated data. This was the calibrated data. Then we had the speckle filtered data, and then we had the terrain corrected data. Okay. Now see, in the terrain corrected data, we had 4 sigma naught images. Okay, sigma naught HH, sigma naught HV, sigma naught VH, and sigma naught VV for 4 different polarizations. And I'm opening one file. It was like this. I mean, this image is now geographically referenced, and also the north side is in the upside direction. Now see, individual bands can be interpreted in grayscale, but as I told you that human being always prefers to see the things in color. So because we can interpret more colors and more information from the color images rather than the grayscale images. Therefore, color images are always appealing to us. Further, color images are generated by combining 3 images. Okay. So simultaneously we can view three images or the information contained in three different images can be viewed simultaneously. So that is another advantage of displaying the images in color. So how can we generate the color composites? Okay, today my all of the discussion will be mainly concentrated on the color composites, and I shall prepare at least 5 to 6 different color composites in different ways, and you will be able to understand what the quality we can achieve, or which one is better or which one is not acceptable, etc., etc. But there are different ways to generate the color composite. It is not like the generating the color composites from the optical images, like passing the blue band through the blue color gun, red band through the red color gun, and so on. Here we do not have any blue band, red band, green band, or the near infrared band. Here all of the images are basically the structural information. So what these color composites actually mean? They do they represent any information, or they are just gimmick? So we have to understand this thing. So first, how to generate the color composite for this terrain corrected image. This is one terrain corrected image. I mean, this is the last process of any kind of radar image processing, terrain correction. So this was the last step, and after that we can generate the color composite. How to generate the color composite? Just right click on this image and select open RGB image window. Okay, open RGB image window. And if you click on open RGB image window, now you have to define the bands or images that are going to be passed through the red color gun of the monitor, green color gun of the monitor, and blue color gun of the monitor. Now, say for example, by default, what it has done, the HH polarization or HH image is being passed through the red color gun, HV is being passed through the green color gun, and VH is being passed through the blue color gun. You have the option to change it. You can click over here and you can select, or you can change the combination. So different compositions can be generated, as you know. If we have four combinations, four color composites, I mean 4 bands, then different color composites can be generated in different combinations. So you will create these combinations and you will interpret, but I am showing the procedure how to generate it. So just select the bands for these 3 different color guns, red, green, and blue, and then just click on OK. It will take some time. So this is the color image. Okay, and as you can see that different earth surface features can be identified in different colors. For example, this is the water. These are here we have the volume scattering. I mean trees and all. Here we have the urban infrastructure that can also be separated clearly, and you know here also we have rural infrastructural areas. So this can also be identified. Water bodies where we have the specular reflection, that can also be identified. So all these things can be identified in a better way. However, this color composite is not very good, rather we have several other techniques to generate the color composites, and my today's discussion will concentrate on those things. So today we are going for polarimetric processing. Remember, polarimetric processing is only possible on quad polarization data, quad pole data. It is not possible on dual pole data, dual polarization, or hybrid polarization. So as we know that radar set to this particular image, radar set 2 image is basically the single loop complex data of quad polarization. So on this image, we shall uh, perform the polarimetric processing, and it will be rather easier for you to understand the differences. So first, let us import the product. Go to the file, import for sensors, radar set 2. Product.xml, import product. So it has been imported. Okay, this is the image, original image. Now see, here you have the world view tab. Okay, and if you go to the world view tab, you will be able to locate the geographical location. I mean, where from the image was captured. Okay, as you can see here, the image was captured, but see, it takes huge time to download the data. As you can see here in my computer in red color, it is saying that downloading, and so it takes huge time. But once it is downloaded, then you can get the data, and also you can view the optical images of world view satellite, and you can compare the SAR image with the optical image in this window itself. I mean, um, uh, other than accessing the Google Earth. So anyway, this was one thing that you may try later, but currently, if you want to try it, then it will take huge time for downloading the optical images of worldview. Anyway, so next step is uh, before creating the color composites or further polarimetric processing, uh, I will demonstrate image subsetting operation. Okay, some of you may not have a computer with very high processing power. Therefore, you may face difficulties while processing the images. Okay, so you may create a subset of the entire product from the entire product. So how to create a subset? Okay, so just zoom to the portion you want to subset. For example, I want to subset this portion. So zoom to a specific portion and then go to the raster menu, raster, and then subset. Now see, if you click on subset menu, then this dialog box will appear, and this, I mean, the displayed area is being highlighted with a blue border in this preview, and this blue border can be changed. I mean, it can be reshaped. So according to your requirement, you can reshape it. Even you can drag it or move it, as you can see. So for example, I want to subset this portion only. So select this portion by reshaping this blue borderline. Okay, then next, band subset. All of the bands are necessary to subset. In the subset image, you should have all of the bands, all of the tie point, grid information, lat long, incidence angle, slant ranging angle, everything is required, and even metadata data in detail, everything is required, because this is a raw product and you are going to process the subset image. Therefore, in the subset image also you should have every kind of information. Otherwise, you won't be able to process the subset image. So that's all. First thing is basically, first and last thing you have to do is basically defining the area you want to subset. That's all. Other things will be selected by the software. I mean, everything will be selected, and this is highly recommended that you should not deselect anything, and just click on OK. Subset image will be created, and as you can see, this is the subset image, or it has created the subset image. And if I open a portion, so this is the subsetted portion. Okay, but in Snap software, the subset image is not saved automatically. You have to save it. Select the subset image, go to the file, save product as, and then it is saying in order to save the product, it has to be converted into beam DIMAP format. That is basically DIM. The internal file format of Snap software is DIM. So in DIM format, it has to be converted. Okay, click on yes. Okay, do it, and then it will ask for the folder name and the file name. Give the file name and select the appropriate folder and click on save. So data output RS2 subset and then save. So it will be saved. I would recommend you to work with this subset image if you don't have a computer with high processing power. However, I am not going to work with the subset image, rather I want to show you the entire image. That is why I am removing the subset image and I shall work with the original image. Whether you work with the original image or with the subset image, it does not matter because the processing technique is same. So I am removing the subset image. So once we open an image, as I told you, the first task is the orbit correction, then the antenna pattern correction. However, these two are applicable for different sets of imagery. And the third one, or rather in our case, this is the first one. The first processing technique is the multi-loop processing, and it is known to you. Go for the multi-loop processing, radar, SAR utilities, multi-looping, and give the file name, output file name, output folder name, also give the output folder name, and in processing parameters, leave all these things as it is default. Ground range square pixel, number of loops will be selected by the software automatically, and the pixel size will also be defined by the software automatically, and don't select any of the bands from this list. The software will automatically select all of the bands and then click on run. Don't click this one, output intensity. If you click on this output intensity, then all of these bands will be converted into, all of the original I component and Q component will be converted into intensity band. But for majority of the SAR image processing techniques require the original I component and Q component. So click on run. Go for the radiometric calibration. Radar, radiometric, calibrate. Radiometric calibration we have discussed in the last class. Now see what will be the input product. The multi-loop process data is the input. It will give the output file name, output folder name. Now go to the processing parameters. In processing parameters, we need all of the bands. So don't select anything. The first important thing. The second important thing is, last day we have saved the images in dB. That means the image was converted into sigma naught value. But for polarimetric applications, we need the complex data, means we need the original I component and Q component. Therefore, while calibrating the data, we should not save the product either, we should not save the product in sigma naught or in gamma naught or in beta naught. Rather, they should be saved as complex data. So select the first option, save as complex output, not the sigma naught. Okay. So click on run. And this is the product after calibration. And as you can see, after calibration also, we have the I component and Q component, since we have saved it in complex data. And extract the information within the polarimetric data. We need some processing tools that convert the data into more usable forms for analysis. The complex data is not, or the complex structure of the data is not that much of usable for different types of analysis, polarimetric analysis. So this complex data, I mean, so that the computer can deal with the data in a better way, or computer can understand the data in a better way, this polarimetric data sets are necessary to be converted into matrix. So polarimetric data sets can be translated into different metric representations which contain a reorganized form of information for further analysis. So this is nothing but a reorganized form of the information or data. Okay, and that is absolutely the internal matter of the software and computer. So this is not required for you. However, how to do it? Okay, so go to the radar, then polarimetric, then polarimetric matrix generation. This one. Okay. This is the first processing technique we are going to execute under polarimetric. So this is the polarimetric processing. Okay. তার আগে পর্যন্ত আমরা যা করেছি that is basically normal processing, multi-loop processing and calibration. So this is the first polarimetric processing. All of the polarimetric tools work with either coherency matrix or covariance matrices as input. So we have to convert the image either in coherency matrix or covariance matrix. So go to radar, polarimetric, then polarimetric matrix generation. Now this is the multi-loop processed and calibrated data. Okay, select this multi-loop processing and calibrated data, and in the next step the output file name, the output folder name, etc., are there, and then go to the processing parameters. Now see, in processing parameters we have C2, C3, C4. These are actually different forms of covariance matrices, and also we have T3 and T4. These two are different forms of coherency matrices. Okay, they generally provide 3 bands. Only one option can provide you 4 matrices. Which one I cannot remember, but other than one, all of them will provide 3 matrices. 3 matrices means basically 3 images. So 3 matrices will be provided, and T3 or T3 and T4, they are basically coherence matrices, and C2, C3, C4 are covariance matrices. We may convert it in either covariance or coherence. Now see, I'd like to show you one thing. Go to the help, and if you click on help, then this Snap software has a very unique help menu where you will have the mathematical equations. That is one advantage. Normally proprietary software do not disclose the mathematical operations, and not only that, they also provide the references, and this reference is useful for the researchers. If you want to refer in your thesis or in your research article, then you can refer this one, and also for further reading you can use these references. And this is not only for a single or particular or this particular operation. For each and every operation you will get complete reference list and also the mathematical explanations. So this is very useful help. The help menu is not providing you the step-by-step process. Rather, in the help menu you can get the core of the thing. So this was the help. Now see, for which one we should go, either covariance or coherence. For the if we go for the covariance, then whether C2, C3 or C4, or if we go for the coherency matrix, then whether T3 or T4. This is the question. Now see, the polarimetric tools can work either with coherency matrix or covariance matrix. It does not matter. The coherency matrix T3 is often preferred because its elements allow a physical interpretation. Physical interpretation means physical interpretation of the Earth's surface. For example, odd bounds, even bounds, diffuse, this kind of physical interaction of energy is highlighted in this particular matrix. While the covariance matrix, for example, C3 is an incoherent polarimetric representation relating to the second order statistics of scattering matrix elements. So obviously you can understand that radar imageries are generally used to understand the physical characteristics of the Earth's surface. So therefore, it is rather better to go for the T3. So we are going to select the T3. Okay. Then if we click on run, I'm not clicking on run. If we click on run, then 3 images will be created. Okay. You use the matrix generation operator when you would like to explicitly select which matrix to use. After generation of matrix, the original bands, I mean the HH, HV, VH or VV will be no longer available. Okay, they will not be available because they will be replaced by the matrix notations of C11 or C1 or C2 or C3 or T2 or T3. So this is the thing you have to understand, and we have to select T3 if we want to understand the physical structure of the Earth's surface, and if we don't want to understand the physical surface of the Earth's surface, rather incoherent polarimetric representation we need. In that case, we will go for covariance matrix instead of coherence matrix. However, I'm going for T3 matrix, and now I'm clicking on run. Now, once I click on run, then this matrix image will be generated. Okay. So this is basically the multi-loop processed radiometrically calibrated matrix image. And this is the first step of polarimetric processing. And once we generate the matrix image, then this matrix image can now be used for further processing. Now see, let me show you the bands. Here, as you can see, T11 or T11, T12 real, T12 image, T13 real, T13 image, T22, T23 real. So a lot of app files are there. But remember, these 4 different polarized images or quad pole data, I component and Q component, have been transformed into 3 matrices actually. This T11, T22 and T33. Other files, they are basically accompanying files. They are not the actual data. So we have T11 is like this, as you can see, and similarly we have T22, and also we have T33. Now see, let me show. We can generate a color composite from these matrix images. How to do it? Press right mouse button in the image file name, open RGB image window, and in the RGB image window, select the profile as T3, okay, and then through the red color gun, select this one, T33. See, $4 T33 means T33 band from number 4 product. So, serial number 4 is the matrix file. So, from the serial number 4 file, T33 band through the red color gun. Through the green color gun, select this one, $4 T22, and through the blue color gun, select $4 T11, and then click on OK. That's all. This is the color image. And we can clearly identify the urban infrastructure, park, vegetated area, water bodies, and all these things. Okay, and this area has a different structure or different earth surface material that can also be easily identified. See, in this area we have different types of materials in the infrastructure. So different materials and different things, even the earth surface terrain variation can also be identified. I mean, the structure of the physical structure of the earth surface clearly in this area. Come to this area to understand the physical structure of the earth surface. Okay, so all this information are present, but in the next step we are going to create a better color composite. So next is the polarimetric speckle filtering. In the last day, we have discussed a simple speckle filtering technique. I mean, the convolution filter 5x5 or 7x7 we have considered. Polarimetric speckle filtering is completely different than the convolution filtering. To clean up the speckles inherent in SAR images, you can apply a speckle filter that is known to you. When working with a single polarized detected is a dual pole SLC image, you may use the conventional speckle filtering found in the SAR processing menu, as we have discussed, radar, then speckle filtering. Okay, but if you have quad pole data, then you must go for the polarimetric speckle filtering. Okay, because you know for full polarimetric data, there are polarimetric speckle filters available that take advantage of all bands and preserve the complex information. So that is the advantage of polarimetric processing. Okay, so you know how to do the polarimetric speckle filtering. Go to the radar polarimetric, okay, then polarimetric speckle filter. So polarimetric, go to the polarimetric speckle filter, and then what will be the product? Product is the matrix. So number 4th product, matrix product, and then target name, folder, don't want to discuss. Then processing parameters. Okay, several filters are there. Okay, and which one will give you the optimum result or your preferred result? That is basically trial and error. So I found that in this particular case, IDAN filter can give a good result, and number of looks 1. Okay. I mean, this filter will be applied once only on the image, and adaptive neighborhood size, keep the default 150, or you can also reduce it or increase it. Means number of neighboring pixels that are being considered while implementing the filter. Now, this is different than the convolution filter. In case of convolution filter, we are basically averaging the neighboring pixels, and in such cases, normally we use 3 by 3, 5 by 5, 7 by 7, or in extreme cases maybe 9 by 9, but not more than that. But this IDAN filter is different. It considers the polarimetric characteristics of neighboring all pixels, and then it decides what to be assigned in the central pixel. So normally the neighborhood size is much larger than the convolution filter. Anyway, so let us click on run. Okay, so it has been completed. Again, T11, T22, T33, those bands are there after the polarimetric speckle filtering. And let us try to generate a color composite again from this image. So press right mouse button, open RGB image window, and through the red color gun, select T33. Through the green color gun, select T22. Make sure that $5 is there. For the fifth product, we are going to generate the composite. And for the blue, T11. And OK. And there is another image. Okay. Now let us evaluate them, keeping these two images side by side. Go to window and tile horizontally. Right? This one is better. Speckle filtered one is in the right hand side, and the matrix one is in the left hand side. Okay, so this one is smoother, much smoother than the original image, and speckles have been reduced to some extent. Okay, so this was another color composite. In the next step, we shall go for polarimetric decomposition. Now, what is polarimetric decomposition? Polarimetric decomposition allows the separation of different scattering contributors and can be used to extract information about the scattering process. Like, the output product will consist of 3 bands, say, and one band will represent the double bounce. Double bounce means corner reflection, say, corner reflection. So in that specific band, the built-up areas will be very bright. One band will represent the volume scattering. So in that band, vegetated area, forested area or trees will appear very bright. Another band will represent the surface scattering. So the flat areas will be very bright in that band. So this is the basic desire while we are going for polarimetric decomposition. So basically we are separating different scattering contributors in different bands. Now how to do it? Process is very simple. Go to radar, polarimetric, then polarimetric decomposition. Where it is? Polarimetric decomposition. Okay. So polarimetric decomposition. What will be the input? Input is the matrix image. Matrix image means number 4 product. Number 4, matrix. Okay, T3 matrix is the input. Then output file name, output folder name, etc. Then go to the processing parameters. Now see, here also different decomposition techniques are there. I mean, developed by different researchers. Okay, you may try with them. I am selecting the Freeman-Darden. This Freeman-Darden decomposition is rather more effective in this particular area that we have found. However, you are free to choose the other decomposition techniques as well. So Freeman-Darden, where it is, this one is generalized Freeman-Darden decomposition. Okay, then leave the window size as it is, 5 by 5. You may increase or decrease it, and you may try with different. You may check different outputs and select a specific one. So then click on run and see. This is the output. Okay. Next, this was the last product that we have generated, and this is basically a decomposite image created from the matrix image. Now, what are the bands we have obtained? Let us see. See, Freeman double bounce red. Then Freeman's volume scattering green, means it is suggesting that this band should be passed through the green color gun. And the double bounce, that means the urban infrastructure should be passed through the red color gun. And surface scattering should be passed through the blue color gun. It is saying that. Anyway, let us open one band, that is double bounce. Okay, or double bounce, or that corner reflection. Okay, so this is the band that is representing the double bounce or corner reflection, and as you can see, the urban areas are very bright in this image because of the corner reflection. Okay, so this is one structural information. Next, volume scattering. See, volume scattering, the brighter areas, in the brighter areas we have the volume scattering. Okay, and we can clearly understand it where we have the vegetation. Surface scattering, the third one, if we open it. Now see, the flat surfaces are brighter. Okay, now let us try to create a color composite. Oh, before that, see, before generating the color composite, I am showing you another thing. See, this is the double bounce image or corner reflection image. So, see, here you will find a tab color manipulation. In the color manipulation, you will get the histogram of the image. Okay, and in this image, in this window, you can manipulate the histogram. If in your software you are not getting this window, color manipulation window, just go to view, tool windows, and color manipulation. So if you click over here, you will get the window. All of the windows are shown here. So if you are not getting any window, or by mistake if you have closed any window, then it can be opened from this list. Anyway, so see, here we can manipulate the histogram. So just stretch it like this, and you will get an image where other features have been darkened and the built up features have been brightened. So this is a manual histogram manipulation. Okay. You also have min max stretch 100%. Sorry, min max stretch. Min max stretch. This is min max linear contrast stretch. Tail trim, 95% of the histogram is being stretched. So all these options are there. Anyway, and this tool is to come back for the reset to default. So this is the reset to default. So here I have shown you how to manipulate the histogram manually, and manual enhancement of the image can be performed over here. However, if you don't like, or if you are not confident enough to manually edit the histogram, in that case, you have one option. You can generate the color composite. Okay, how to generate the color composite from this image? So press right mouse button over this product and then open RGB image window, and this time the double bounce band should be passed through the red color gun, volume scattering should be passed through the green color gun, and surface scattering should be passed through the blue color gun, and click on OK. Now see, vegetated areas are appearing in green, water bodies are appearing in blue, and urban areas are appearing in red or pinkish. And also we may have some vegetation within the urban infrastructure as well. And roadside vegetation can also be identified, as you can see. So this is rather a better product than the all previous color composites. Okay, now see, this image can also be filtered further, but this time if you want to filter this image, then this time you won't be able to perform polarimetric filtering. Rather, you have to go for normal speckle filtering. Okay. Anyway, I'm not performing the speckle filtering again. It is known to you how to do the speckle filtering. This image for this color composite image, or for this image rather, we can deal with the scatter plot. Okay. How to deal with the scatter plot? This is the tool. First select the product, the last product, select the last product and click on this particular icon, scatter plot. And if you click on this scatter plot, then this kind of dialog box will appear. Where first in the x-axis, for the x-axis, select the red band, red, and for the y-axis, select the green band. Say for example, this can be altered. I will show you. And click on this refresh button, and the scatter plot will appear. Now see, in this scatter plot, this is the image. Keep the image on the right hand side, and you will notice what is happening. In x-axis red and in y-axis green. Okay, so refresh. Now see, In this scatter plot, these values are actually representing a specific feature and these values are actually representing specific features. Okay, just keep your mouse pointer over here within this window and press right mouse button and select this one, select mask. You can generate masks. Okay, so select mask scatter plot area. Now if you draw, sorry, if you draw one object like this containing all these pixels, the lower portion, see, all the water pixels have been highlighted. And also you can generate a mask for the other pixels, like, see, these are other pixels. I have just demonstrated it. Now, go to the scatter plot and press right mouse button again and then delete mask. So the mask will be deleted. Next, the next step or in the next processing, what we want to do is actually generating hybrid polarization. Okay, hybrid polarization from the quad pole data. Now the question is, hybrid polarization means? Hybrid polarization means as we have in RISAT, circular right hand send, horizontal receive, circular right hand send, vertical receive. So these are called hybrid polarization. Since we have circular polarization as well as the linear polarization, a combination of circular polarization and linear polarization. So right circular polarization send, horizontal receive, or left circular polarization send, horizontal receive. So one is the circular and another is the linear. So that is why it is called hybrid polarization. And in some of the satellites we have this hybrid polarization. So hybrid polarizations are actually not dual pole data. I will explain it later. So how to generate this hybrid polarized data from the fully polarized data? In the fully polarized data, we have 4 different polarizations. 4 different polarizations means 2 like polarizations and 2 cross polarizations. Anyway, so go to radar, polarimetric, then compact polarimetry, then compact polarimetry simulation. You have to understand that these bands will be simulated by the software and these are not the original bands. Okay, and even they are not equivalent to the original hybrid polarization data. These are simulated data. The software will simulate the hybrid polarized data from the quad pole data. So go for compact polarimetry simulation. From the compact polarimetry simulation, what is the input? The input should be the multi-loop process data. Remember it. Okay, I mean, we are not going for any kind of calibration, matrix generation or anything. Simply the multi-loop processing will be performed and then the hybrid polarization will be simulated. So select the multi-loop process data. Okay, and then processing parameters, right circular hybrid mode, left circular hybrid mode. Right circular hybrid mode will create two bands, right circular send, horizontal receive, right circular send, vertical receive. Whereas left circular hybrid mode will also generate 2 bands, left circular send, horizontal receive, left circular send, vertical receive. However, let us go for the right circular hybrid mode similar to the RISAT. Then output format. What will be the output format? So in output format, we have the covariance matrix C2. Now see why we are not considering the matrix image, because it will automatically generate the matrix image. So here select scatter vector S2 because it gives better output for this image, and noise power level dB leave it as it is. Different values can be used for trial and error, and then click on run. And if you click on run, what happens? See here what the bands I am getting. See, I component of RCH, U component of RCH, I component of RCV, U component of RCV. So this two hybrid polarizations have been simulated. Their I component and Q components have also been simulated. The next step is, this from this polarimetric data, we have to go for polarimetric decomposition. Okay, and how to go for polarimetric decomposition? Go to tools, radar, polarimetric, and polarimetric decomposition. Because see, here we have only two bands. One is the RCH and another is the RCV. I component, Q components are there. If you convert them, then you will get only two intensity images, one for RCH and one for RCV. But color composites require three bands. So how can we get three bands? If we decompose the hybrid data, then three different bands will be generated. Since this is a compact polarimetric image, go to radar, then polarimetric, compact polarimetry, and compact polarimetry decomposition. Actually, see, this is not a quad pole data. This is a hybrid data, compact polarimetric data. Therefore, normal polarimetric decomposition that we did earlier will not work on this data. Rather, we have to go to the compact polarimetry and then compact polarimetry decomposition. And input output is the last product, input output, and then okay, by default I'm getting the MCHI. So MCHI decomposition, window size 5 by 5, different decomposition techniques are there again, developed by different researchers, and you can go for trial and error method for selecting the most appropriate output, and then click on run. If you click on run, then you will get the compact polarimetric decomposition image. Close. Now let us see. See, MCHI R, MCHI green, MCHI blue. Three bands have been generated from two bands. And let us create a color composite. Try to create a color composite. Right mouse button, open RGB image window, and definitely the red one will be passed through the red color gun, green one through the green color gun, and blue one through the blue color gun, and see what happens. So this is the MCHI color composite. Okay. So urban infrastructure, then even you can see now you can identify the sheep very clearly. This is the sheep. And water bodies, here also the sheeps. So this is another color composite. Now see, earlier I have shown you one color composite, and then here also we have four different color composites, and now let me show them horizontally in horizontal style. See the differences. Now see this final product. This final product, for this final product, we can apply simple speckle filtering, and this image can be this image is necessary to be processed for terrain correction, definitely, because terrain correction will ultimately georeference the image and it will make the north side up orientation, and then this image can be exported in other software and it can be used for many purposes, to fuse with the optical images, or to fuse with panchromatic images, or to fuse with the thermal images, or classification and all, image classification. We shall discuss the image classification later. So image classification, for all these things, this image can be used. Definitely, speckle filtering and terrain correction may be required. Speckle filtering may be required, but terrain correction is essential. However, I am not explaining the terrain correction. And at this moment, I would rather prefer to save the session. Okay, save the session. I'm going to show you the RISAT data. Okay, and see, if you go to the file and import and then search sensors, and then in the list we do not have the RISAT satellite listed. Now, since the RISAT satellite is not listed here, then we will try to open it directly. Okay, open product. Don't worry, it will be opened. Now go to the RISAT. RISAT, San Francisco RISAT, and then see here we do not have the XML file. Rather, band meta. This is the metadata file. This is the metadata file, band meta, and this metadata file is in TXT format, TXT file format. But no problem. The software can read the TXT file format. That means you should not be worried if your image supplying agency is supplying the data in TXT file format or in ASCII file format. So there will be no problem. I'm double clicking on it, and that data has been opened. As you can see, in the metadata, we have all this information, and also we have the latitude, longitude information, incidence angle, slant range distance, everything is there. And in the image bands, what we have: right circular horizontal polarization, I component, Q component, virtual intensity band for the right circular horizontal polarization, and this is right circular vertical polarization, I, Q, and virtual intensity. Okay, so two bands are there. Next step is radiometric calibration. Why? Does not it require multi-look processing? Okay, let us check whether it requires the multi-look processing or not. Select the image, go to the radar and SAR utilities and multi-looking. And as you can see in the processing parameters, it is selecting one pixel in the range direction and 1 pixel in the azimuth direction. That means it does not require multi-look processing, and the pixel ground resolution is 2.6 meter. So it is already in ground range plane, and the multi-look processing has been performed by the image supplying agency, and you are getting the image in 1 by 1 pixel size for a specific ground resolution. Okay, so you can check any image that whether it requires multi-look processing or not. So the multi-look processing is not required because it is already in ground range plane. If we one intensity image, then you will understand. Let me open it. See, the spatial resolution is extremely high for RISAT-1. Therefore, it will take much longer time, and it is better to create a subset. And as you can see, it is not a strip-like image. So it has been already converted into ground range. If you open the image, then also you will understand. I mean, if you compare the Radarsat image preview and this image preview, then definitely you can understand that this is in ground range plane. Therefore, multi-loop processing is not required anyway. So next thing is calibration, radiometric calibration. So it is simple. Go to the radar, then radiometric, then calibrate. Okay. And since we are going for polarimetric processing on this image, therefore, it must be saved as complex output. Okay, but this calibration tool will not work on this image. Okay, I mean, will not work on, should not be worked on this sigma naught value. Okay, I mean, you should not generate the sigma naught value or the gamma naught value or this one. So just save as complex output and click on run. So calibration has been performed, and here we have obtained these images calibrated. This is the calibrated image. Okay, and next, see, since we have two bands, then we won't be able to generate color composites. Therefore, for generating the color composites and to and to segregate different surface scatter, different structures like surface scatterers, volume scatterers, corner reflectors, then we have to decompose the image. But see, this polarimetric, normal polarimetric decomposition will not work. Normal polarimetric decomposition is applicable on the quad pole data. Now, since this is not a quad pole data, this is a hybrid pole data, therefore, we have to go for the compact polarimetry. Compact polarimetry means basically this deals with the hybrid data. Okay, this deals with the hybrid data. This hybrid data, although we have two bands, they are not called dual pole data. Or in case of dual pole data, we will have HH or VB, HHVB or VHHV. I mean, same two linear polarizations will be there. This is not like circular, a combination of circular and linear. So therefore, in case of compact, in case of hybrid data, we have to go for the compact polarimetry. So go to the compact polarimetry and then compact polarimetry decomposition. And input is this one, calibrated one, and output folder. Then in the processing parameters, let us select MCHI decomposition and click on run and see what happens. Two things I would like to mention, that RISAT data is still not fully supported by SNAP. Therefore, speckle filtering or those terrain corrections, etc., are not properly executed on the RISAT data. So this is one thing you should remember. Now see, here we have three bands. So R band, green band, blue band. R band means basically corner reflection, G for volume scattering, and blue for surface scattering. Now from select this product, right mouse button and open RGB image window, and as it is red through the red color gun, green through the green color gun, and so on, and click on OK. See, this is the product. Okay. Now you can see this is basically inverted. See, upside down. But if we go for the terrain correction, then ultimately the image will be geographically referenced, and ultimately the north side will go in the upside. North side will go in the upside direction. Okay. So this is enough for today.